Welcome to KSR Data Vision YouTube channel. Now in this video, we are going to look at management round. Now this will be usually the second round of every interview. Now irrespective of which role you're applying for, it could be for data science or data engineering or data analyst. We have picked the top 25 management questions and we are going to give you with answers. So this will be definitely very useful. So I request each everyone to look at every question, because every question is repeated n number of times in management round. Based on my experience, I have received n number of questions and I also take a lot of interviews at my company. That's how we have just collected everything, and this video is prepared for your preparation for a management round. Now, the things which we'll be covering is your management round will be a combination of your tech as well as some of the general questions. And the fact is, though you're technically very strong, 30% of the people who are applying for the second round don't clear it. The reason? They may not have much experience to talk about the answers. Let me talk about a Power BI developer role or a data analyst role or even a data engineer role. You may be technically very strong where you can answer all of your questions in the round 1, but in the round 2, there will be some of the scenarios that will be asked and you may not be able to answer it well. Now this video will really help you for your preparation. Now, as said, if you see, you have to be very conscious about what you're answering in your management round, because this is still an elimination round. Even though you have given your best in the round 1, this can still be your elimination. So don't rush up with your answers. So this are some of the tips and tricks which I'm telling before going into the question. So try to be precise and try to make sure that you speak spontaneously. Okay. And whatever you're speaking, just be confident. And one personal advice, be honest. Now that's where you have to score your marks. In case if you have not done, on the face you can tell that you have not done, right? Let's get into questions one by one. Now we have splitted these questions into both tech and non-tech. Technically, yes, they will start with some small technical questions and then they will move on to a non-technical, which I can even call it as a general question. Now I'll be acting like a dual role. I'll be asking the questions myself and I'll be giving the answers myself. So please make sure that you keep a track of who is a panel and who is a candidate. Okay. So the question which is displayed on the screen will be like a panel asking, and then I'll be elaborating the answers. So that will be the candidate's answer. Okay. First question. Hey, thanks for joining the call. Can you elaborate yourself or can you introduce yourself? Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. Myself Santosh. I do have around 9 years of experience working with Microsoft. Well, I started my career with SQL, then slowly moved on to a data analyst role, and then followed by data engineering. Now, in my complete project, I used to work with end-to-end, right from the requirement gathering until report building. So, I'm responsible for creating reports and dashboards. To talk about the current assignment which I'm working for e-commerce company Amazon. So in Amazon, we actually take off all the data that is coming from different data sources and we collect together into a Power Query editor. We build the modeling, and this is where we just bring on to Power View by using different kind of charts that is available in Power BI. We do reporting and then we take forward to publishing the report. Now, the need of this project was we wanted to create one centralized dashboard and report so that our end users can view the report and make some decisions. Now, this is a small introduction about myself, and I'm very happy to explain in detail. Next question. So what is your current role in the project? Well, in the current project, my responsibility is to take care of the end-to-end activities. I interact with my clients. I get the requirements in the form of documents or email. Then I'll start preparing the design, and then we will reach out to a certain team for the data, especially data engineers. And majority of the time, we build in report building. And we also think out of the box to make sure that we provide the best solution to the end users. Okay. So can you describe your day-to-day activities in your project? Well, my day starts with a simple analysis where we'll be working with a report. And there will be a lot of ad hoc requests that will be coming on to the plate. When I say ad hoc request, so a client asks, okay, what happened the last 10 days sales? what happened last 1 week. Now, let's say we have a start of the year, how the sales has been improving, or can you compare your last December sales with the January sales? Now, these are all ad hoc requests that we'll be getting. We may not be doing Power BI report for that. At least by using SQL or maybe advanced Excel, we'll try to pull the data and we showcase to our clients. So that is where my day starts. Followed by, we will be having multiple meetings, internal meeting, stand-up meeting, and then we discuss about the blockers, what is the current work we are doing, and always we interact with the team, making sure that if anyone is facing challenges, we try to solve it by using our experience. So that is something which we do. And then followed by, we work with our actual development, that is report building. So this is how my day ends, and it's mainly on the analytics side. Okay. Now, how do you validate your data in your project? Well, thank you so much for bringing up this question. This is very important for every project. It's not about how you build the report, it's about the quality of the report. Now, even if you make a small mistake in the numbers, that can spoil the entire report. So we have to take an extra step and extra precautions in managing the data. And the way I validate the data is, we do have the source and would have done some calculations, or maybe would have written some DAX functions. So our objective is to compare your source and destination. So whatever the data which we are getting the source level, after transformations, we also go and check if the data is matching. My basic way of checking is you pick out one customer, check what is the sales before transforming. And again, at the DAX layer, you can go and do the transformations and always try to create a simple table, check it, and then implement on a larger table. And we can also write some stored procedures where we can compare your input and output. So this is how we do it. And basically, our objective is to compare your input and output. If there is not matching, then we have to go and research and do a deep dive. Where is the issue? Now, okay. So how do you track your task in your current project? Usually we get the requirement in the form of a business requirement document or either a functional requirement document. So using these documents, we usually collect all the requirements. And nowadays we have also started using Jira. So Jira is a tracking tool where we can track each and every task, making sure that who's been assigned and what is the estimate given and how long you're going to take to do this work. So these are the few things which we'll be handling, and we are following Jira tool for the project. Okay. Have you faced any challenges in your project? And if yes, how did you overcome that? Well, challenges, yes, we do have a lot of challenges, and I'll share you one of the experience which I have faced. In the early 2021, the team was ramped down, and immediately some of the team members were being moved out, and it was a very tough for us to fill their shoes. I would say that the data engineers were very helpful in providing the data for us, but unfortunately, due to the project ramp down, the team was actually shortened. From 9 members, it became 4 members. And this was a challenging phase because the timelines very tight. We have to do the deliverables on time, but unfortunately, we were not able to do that. So the way we have handled this, though it was not our cup of tea, we have to just jump in data engineering role. We have to pull out right data from right schema. So we have put a lot of efforts. We extended our time and made sure that the deliverables was on safe place. Now that's one of the challenges which we add. That is data gathering part, and that is how we have handled it. And in between, we used to also get a lot of requirement changes. And this requirement changes, of course, if requirements are changing, your timelines will not change. So that's the one thing about clients. So we need to manage that. So switching here and there between the requirements and trying to manage your clients, that was the most difficult part. And we have handled it smoothly with the help of team. Now moving on, slowly the shift will be from tech to non-tech. Okay. So in no particular order, we have a set of non-tech questions. So please have an eye on it. To start with, what is your strength and weakness? Well, my strength is definitely I'll be confident of the work which I'm doing, and I'm always sticking on to the timelines. I'll be always up to mark in terms of delivering the product. So that is about my strength. And my weakness, yes, I would say that definitely, yes, I do have weakness. When I say weakness, overthinking could be one of my weakness. And I do take some extra time in providing the accurate results. Maybe whenever if given a requirement, I usually ask a buffer of 2 days. Because for me, all it matters is data. I don't want to go with the client with the wrong numbers. I want to go with the accurate numbers. So I take a couple of days extra time in validating the numbers because testing is very important for me. So that is where I pushed by 1 or 2 days. Uh, Maybe I call it that as an weakness because I take some extra time. But end of the day, it's all about getting the best results. Okay. So how do you overcome conflicts with your client or within the team? Well, conflicts are one thing which happens in every project, but people usually don't showcase that, being at a professional working side. But the way I handle is, whether it is with the team or with the clients, I always give chance to others to speak. Maybe if you have a couple of work that is either done by you and your colleague, I always try to have the best solution. Doesn't matter if that has to be my solution. I always support team. For me, team comes first and then the individual. I don't look at the individual performance. I always consider the team. End of the day, it's all about providing the best report to the end users. So in terms of conflict, I give the chance to others, prove them in terms of a documentation. If let's say if there is a solution, if two resources has been doing the same thing, I ask them to present, take the best, do the documentation, do the testing, and that's how we handle it. And that's how I do it in terms of conflicts. I try to handle it smooth. End of the day, it's all about a corporate. So you need to be professionally well matured. So that is something which I do for my projects. Okay. How do you get upskilled with the new technologies? Well, this is something which is very interesting because I'm very passionate about technologies. So I always try to find the answers in multiple ways, try to find multiple directions. If there is a problem, I always wanted to reach that problem in a shorter path. And for that, I used to do a lot of research. I read some articles, go with some documentation, and I always keep prepared in terms of updates. And that is something which helped me to solve the problem in multiple ways. And as well as said that I'm passionate about technologies and I always keep updated. I put a lot of efforts in understanding some of the articles, documents, and research papers. And that is how I keep myself updated. Okay. So could you please describe a situation where you had a difficult time in your project? Well, yes, definitely. I had a lot of uh, difficult times. So one such was you have to manage both your professional and personal time. So that is something which is there for every individual person. So there could be a situation where you have to manage and you have to plan accordingly. And one such time back, you will not even get support from the team. You have to put your efforts, extend your hours, put some extra hours over the weekend. That's something which I do it. I'll make sure that for me, project deliverables comes first and I take one step at a time. I don't prefer multitasking, but I always think about the project and the task and I finish one at a time. So that's how I manage the difficult times. And as said in the previous discussion as well, like there was difficult time in the project where the team was ramped down and you have to upskill yourself. You have to overcome all the challenges. So that is something which I add in my experience. And I just wanted to call that out. Do you work with multiple clients at the same time? If yes, how do you manage? Yes, if that is a requirement from two clients, yes, definitely we have to accept it and we have to do it. We cannot say no to the other client and yes to the other yes to the other client. That's not the way you handle it. You have to manage. You have to manage both, and that's why the company is paying for. So you have to take one step at a time. Check out which project has the tight deadlines and which is a blocker. For example, there could be two reports where one report there is only 20 users who are using and the other report there are 400 users are using. So just try to give priority to which one is needed and just take that into your priority list. And that's how I do it. Do you have experience in handling team? Well, I'm not a team leader, but yes, I can manage a team and I have done that. Not a team leader on paper, but yes, I have been responsible for handling the task. I delegate some tasks to juniors and I take care of it. In fact, I will be the person who will be facing at the client. So I'll be responsible for delivering the product. So definitely I take that ownership. And yes, I do have experience handling it with a larger team. Okay. So which process do you follow in your project? Well, in my project, we usually follow agile methodology. So for a couple of other projects, I do have experience working with waterfall, but I also like to work with agile. So agile is something which happens at every sprint. So each sprint will be like around 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So deliverables will be done within 2-3 weeks. And the good thing about going with agile is you get a lot of feedbacks in improving the reports and dashboards and according to the business need. So that is something which we follow, and we do also have stand-up calls. Every day we do connect with the team and discuss what is the blockers. We do ask 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? What are you going to do today? And what is a blocker? So those things we will be discussing. And that is something which we will be doing for agile methodology. And yes, that is what we are uh, following the process. And in fact, we also have some overlap time between the clients, and we try to connect with the clients on a daily basis as well. Where do you see yourself in next 3 years and next 5 years? Well, next 3 years, I would definitely want to be more strong towards the technological side. And being at the technology, yes, domain knowledge is very important. So knowing about multiple domains will be the key factor. And that is something which I will be doing it. I want to improve my skills over the domain knowledge. And 5 years down the line, I wouldn't think about future right away. I just think taking one step at a time. But if still this question is shooted at me, I would say that at 5 years, I would definitely like to lead a larger team and take more responsibilities and a higher role in the company. Why are you leaving your current job? Well, two factors. So one, which I would say this, I'm not being that utilized in the project. I work for 5-6 hours, which I could have done it better. So also the other thing is the work has become stable. There is no much challenging, and I'm a person who likes to solve a lot of challenges. And I just wanted to get into a challenging role where I'm technically strong, so I want to utilize that skill. And that is the one reason which I'm looking for a job change. This role requires to work in a different time zone. Any concern? Well, not at all. All of my experience, I work with the US clients and UK clients, so definitely there will be overlap. And I usually log in at 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock in the afternoon time and extend my work in a 9 to 10. And also there will be always overlap between our time and US time. So definitely time is not at all a concern. I'm ready to work in any shift. That's one of the positive side of my work. Are you aware of the job description? Yes, I've gone through the job description and I was really excited for this role because this role requires a lot of analytics to be done into a different domain. And coming from an e-commerce, healthcare, and finance, I think this domain could really help me to scale up. That's one of the things which I'm looking for. I'm looking forward to it. And first of all, thanks for this opportunity on this role as well. Can you tell me a situation where you have committed a mistake and how did you handle it? Yes, this is a very important for each and everyone to learn from the mistake. And in my experience, I would not say in the early days, but in the 4-5 years back, where I have working with one of the SQL database, and I thought it's a temp table, and I really dropped it. But later I got to know that it's an original table that you have dropped it, and the entire report got, it got affected. The report did not load properly. Then again, I have to reach back to the production team, raise a ticket, copy the production data to your development data. So that's one of the mistake which I did. And yes, I have to face the consequence. I have to face my clients in terms of this. And end of the day, it's all about learning. It's not about what mistake you make, but it's about what you learn. So dropping a table in the development database was one of the mistake which I've done. And from then onwards, I was very conscious of what needs to be not, what need not be done. So that consciousness I got from the mistake. And from then onwards, I take everything very seriously and focused when I'm working for a project. How do you prioritize your work for your team and yourself? Well, this is something which most of the employees fail to plan it. So what we do in our project is we actually create a list of to-do list. As said that we start our day with the team meetings. So in team meetings, I give chance to discuss everyone about their work they're doing. and also their challenges. Who knows, a person challenges may be solved by other person in a previous assignment or experience. So I would like the entire team to discuss, and that will actually solve the majority of the problem. And I keep it very short, 15-20 minutes of discussion, so that they can start sharing the to-do list. And that's what I do for the team. And for coming for myself, I always look onto the mails, just check which is on priority, and prepare a to-do list, put it in the sticky notes, and then solve one by one. So that's the thing which I do. I'd always start with a complex task first, so that you get rid of all the stress, and then you come back to the small task, and that's how I do it. Okay. So do you prefer individual role or working with a team? Well, both has pros and cons, but I have experience working with both as an individual developer as well as a team developer. So when it comes to the individual, yes, you need not discuss with anything. You can just take care of your work. You need to report only to your clients, and you can put a lot of efforts. You can just do as per your need. Well, that's an advantage, but at the end of the day, that you will not get some ideas or suggestions from the team. So that's a drawback. So when you're working with a team, you have to always sync with the team. You should have patience. You have to collaboratively work with them. And teamwork is actually why I prefer, because when working for analytics, will get a lot of chance to think. You'll have a lot of ideas to share. So your suggestions also will be valid. So I usually prefer teamwork, but I'm open to work on any role. Okay. So how do you handle stress? Well, yeah, honestly, stress is something which everyone has to overcome in their career path. So yes, sometimes you will be very much stressed with hard deadlines, and you have to manage your all the things as an individual, as a human being. Yes, you will have stress. To overcome that's something which is something you need to think and make yourself comfortable. So I take a small break, come back, take a fresh mind, and try to solve it. So I always prefer working with gaps. It's not about continuously start at work for all 8 hours and make yourself stressful. Here and there I take a lot of breaks, and then I come back with a fresh mind, and that's how I handle stress. Tell me one thing which is not there in your resume. So okay, most of the things which is there in my resume will be towards my technical side, where I do a lot of things over uh, the projects. But something out of the projects, I'm very passionate about sports, so I do play a lot of sports to keep myself out of the stress. And I also help people in terms of mentoring. So that's something which I do outside my work, and that will never be on my resume. If I call one of your previous manager and ask about you, what would they say about you? Well, yes, one thing which any of my previous priors or managers will talk about me is I'm very punctual, and that is something which I keep always in mind. Even when going to an office or attending a meeting, I always be on time. So that's punctual thing is one thing which my others may speak about me, and the honesty and the work which I do, which will be on up to the mark. So if I'm doing any work, it's if I do any deliverables, so it's like it will be up to the mark as per the standard. So that is something which I've practiced in my career, and that's one of the positive about me. How do you justify you're the best fit of the other candidates? Well, yes, maybe you would have interviewed many people for this role, but definitely I would justify myself that I'm a fast learner. Um, you give me any technology, I can learn in 10 days. So that's what I am very good at. I do a lot of research in understanding the requirements, the usage of right tools, the way we have to progress. So that is something which I do it. And to justify myself, I'm known of many technologies. I'm aware of a lot of things. I try to connect the dots. So what is a problem, how to do a breakdown, and then how to solve each and every problem. So this is something which I do it, and that's one of my strength. And of course, that I would justify that I will be the best fit. Okay. Do you have any questions for me? Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for sparing your time on asking these questions. I'm really glad that you were able to, I was able to justify all these answers, but I still wanted to know what type of challenging role I can expect here. And I'm very much interested in this role. So if you can help me to understand better about the job and the role, I would be really happy to hear that. Okay. Now this ends all the questions. Now, you would have gone through each and every question, and the way I answer is I'm not prepared, honestly, this is something which you have to do it without preparation. Just keep in mind what are the situation you have come across and then speak about it. The last question is very important. Don't just say that I don't have any questions. Okay, if you say that you don't have any questions, it's like you're not showing interest to your interviewer. Okay, so please ask some questions and always try to talk about positive sides of yourself. And especially if they're asking about the negatives, you should be able to tell that as well. Okay, so please go through all these questions one by one. I know it's a lengthy video, but I would request this will be really helpful. And we already have top 25 SQL questions, top 25 Power BI questions, and we also have a couple of other interview recorded in our YouTube. So this also will be added to the list. So please go through this. As said in the beginning, 30% of them who are technically strong are not able to clear the management round because lack of answering skills. Just follow the video, write it down and speak it in your own words. This should clear 100% the answers which I've said. If you all are also repeating in the interview, your interview will be cleared. With that, thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe our channel. We will upload more videos. And we also have another interview round that is coming with the client. So how to manage a client interview. And that video also will be published shortly. Thank you so much.